What's going on, guys? Bijan here. So I'm going to talk about how you can MHD flash your car. I'm going to talk about my review on it, but we're going to go inside the car because it's way too windy out here. Before I start recording, it seems as though the spot I have is not that secretive. There's a C8 Corvette kind of doing a photo shoot.
Nice.
All right, now that we're inside the car and you can probably hear me a lot better in here, holy power. So first of all, let's go over how you can actually flash your car. There's a couple things that you need to get started. So I guess this is like a step 0 or what's needed. To flash the car, you're going to need a couple of things. So first of all, you're going to need an Android, something that can run the MHD app on it. Next, you're going to need a OTG adapter. So this has to go to whichever Samsung or whichever Android device you have. And then you need an OTG cable. Pretty straightforward. You can get these from Beamer Geeks. They're like 70, 80 bucks. You need a specific adapter that can handle the transfer of information that you need. So this adapter was about, I think, 20 bucks. And then you can probably get, like, I have a Note 3 from like 10 years ago that I happen to have in my closet. So I'm using that. I'm pretty sure you can get another Note 3 on Craigslist for like 50 to 100 bucks. So when you're about to flash the car, you need one more thing. You're going to need a battery charger, battery tender. You need to be able to plug in your battery to the wall because this flash is going to take 45 minutes to an hour, and the last thing you want is your battery to die and you brick your car, because that would be no fun. Once you have all the necessary equipment, what you're going to do is take the battery tender, put it on your battery, make sure your car's battery is good. What I would recommend is turn all your accessories off, roll your windows down if you're in your garage, which you probably will be because you need a power outlet, and then plug in your Android device to the car. Before you actually start the process, so once you plug in your phone, you do actually have to download the MHD flasher and also the map pack. I think it's about 300 bucks. If yours goes through first try, let me know, because mine didn't. I had to call Google 3 times to make it go through, but finally I was able to get it a few hours later. From there, it's going to ask you some questions and you're going to start to run the process. Once that application is loaded up and I have my map pack, phone's plugged in, battery tender's plugged into the wall, you're ready to go. So then you start the process. What I'd recommend again is flash a baseline of your car. So create a backup of your map 0, your stock flash. Just in case something goes wrong, you can always flash back to it, or if you need to switch, you can always switch maps, you can always flash back to that stock map. Then you're going to choose your appropriate map pack. So for example, if you're bone stock, you could just go stage 1. If you're bone stock with an intercooler, you could go stage 1 plus. Stage 2, you need downpipes. Stage 2 plus, you need downpipes and an intercooler. So then you would choose your appropriate map. Make sure that the software you're choosing or the map pack you're choosing is set up for the hardware that you have on your car. So once you click it, it'll ask you about some options. You can set up things like burble, 2-step, removing the top speed limiter, things like that, reducing your boost per gear, that sort of thing. Once you dial in all the goodies and get all the settings set up, then you hit flash. Now at this point, I would, before you hit flash, get out of the car, close the door. Because your window's open, you can hit flash and just put the phone on top of your dash and leave the car alone. The car is going to start to do some very, very wonky things. It's going to start saying service soon, gas pedal error, this error, dash error, lights will come up on your dash. If you have iDrive, lights will come up on your iDrive. Do not be afraid. It's running the process. Just look at your phone. It took me about 45 minutes to an hour to get this done. It just went 1% after the other. And finally it said, okay, you're done. Wait 30 seconds and then restart your car. Now, once it's flashed, go and have some fun because it will be a different car. Man, oh man, do I love MHD. It completely woke up the car. I'm sure you've done some pulls in your car bone stock before you flash it. Now do some pulls after you do stage 2 or stage 2 plus. You will feel a noticeable difference in power. I think stock ones are making something like high 200s as far as wheel horsepower and wheel torque. Now, I haven't dynoed my specific car, but I have friends and other people in the forums who have dynoed their car with similar elevations, similar dynos, and the same flash, same exhaust setup. And they're making something like 350 wheel horsepower and 400 wheel torque from a flash. That's unbelievable. Well, flash in a downpipe. That's still unbelievable because the MHD flash is 300 bucks. All of the accessories you need are probably about 100 to 150 bucks. So that's 450. Downpipe's about 250. It's about 700 bucks. For about 700 bucks, you're getting 100 wheel torque and 50 to 60 wheel horsepower. You need to do it. Just do it. Why are you sitting there?
Just do it!
Now, as far as my specific car, how I have it set up is I removed the top speed limiter. I didn't change any of the boost by gear settings though. I feel like I should adjust the first gear, but it's still pretty fun to kind of spin out through first, then you grab traction in second, but you know, it's not necessary. I have burble settings on, so my burbles are set to the most aggressive, but for an extremely short period of time. So I just want to pop when I lift off the throttle, and I have it hooked up to sport mode. So the reason why you should do that as well is, let's say that you're cruising, let's say that you're doing 5 or 10 miles an hour over the speed limit, and there's a cop nearby. You go, oh, there's a cop, let me lift off throttle. Now, if you have sport mode on and you lift off, you're gonna AK-47. But if you turn sport mode off and then lift off, there'll be no burbles. Your car will sound very similar to stock. That's the beauty of setting it up to the sport button. As far as reliability and longevity, I have had this on the car for probably about 10,000 miles, maybe about 10 or 11 months now. I mean, knock on wood, I haven't had any issues with it. I haven't broken anything. Fuel pump's still doing okay. Spark plugs, I haven't blown any of them out. Coil packs are doing fine, aren't blowing those out. It's literally just been a plug and play, put a downpipe on, do stage 2, flash the car. I run logs once in a while just to check on things, and it's always 14.7 air fuel ratio, and the car is running beautifully. So one thing I did forget to talk about, I am in an N55 car. Your results may vary in an N54 car. You may actually make a little more horsepower, so I guess that's not really a bad thing. In my N54 335, I did JB4 instead of MHD. I actually recommend going MHD over JB4 if you're going down that route, but you will make a little more power on the N54 platform because at the end of the day, you do have a second turbo.
That's okay.
Yeah, that's even better.
Got a good time for you.
Now, I guess since we're getting towards the end of the video, the big question of the day is, would I recommend it? If it hasn't been absolutely obvious through the whole video, yes, 100% I would recommend it. It is an amazing way to spend $300 on your car and to completely change the power and how it feels. And would I recommend this if we're comparing it to the JB4? I would recommend this over the JB4, especially if you have a DCT car, because how a JB4 works, it's kind of manipulating some of the sensors to up your boost a bit, but the MHD is an actual over-the-shelf flash. It's telling your car to run more boost and run a little bit more timing. Now, why that's important is because when you up those things, the MHD flash also ups your bite pressure for your DCT. Now, in a JB4, it doesn't do that, and I've heard stories of other members in the forums and other friends having issues with their DCT clutches slipping actually on the JB4. When they remove it and go MHD, they no longer have issues. So if you aren't convinced yet, be convinced, go ahead, jump on it, do it. If you have the $300 and you have the hardware that you need, it is so much fun. It will drastically change how your car feels. So what do you need again? You need an Android device that can run the MHD app. You also need an OTG cable with an adapter that can fit into the phone. You also need a battery tender if you don't already have one, just to make sure that your car doesn't go to sleep and you brick the ECU, because that would be no bueno. All right, guys, let's do a quick pull in the car. See you guys on the next one.